evening, everyone. I'm Angela Pollard, Principal of this college, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you all here this evening. I know you don't want to spend a lot of time listening to me talk. It's much more important that you have the chance to hear from our wonderful staff who are running the real-time learning and hands-on learning programs here at the college. But I can't resist this opportunity to tell you what an amazing opportunity this is for our college and our students and for you as parents. This is the start of something pretty special. There's been lots of talk in education circles for many years about moving away from the style of education that suited people 40, 50, even 100 years ago. And it's very difficult for many schools to actually do something about it. We all know that it is very easy to forget facts, but it's just about impossible to forget understanding. And that's what underpins this program and work that we're doing here at the college. It looks different to what I certainly had when I went to school, and even though many of you are very, very young, it might look different to what you had at school as well, but it doesn't mean that it's not the right way to go. We're investing in your child's future through this program. We believe it 100%. We believe the results will prove and dispel any fears that people might have. This is work that requires a staff at a school to be courageous, to be prepared to become learners, to move away from the comfortable models that they might have done for many years, to stop thinking about themselves as teachers and start thinking about the students as learners, and it puts the students first. So I am incredibly proud to have this opportunity to bring this program to Mount Eliza. It isn't just about this program. It represents an approach to teaching and learning that we're gradually moving right throughout the whole school. Not in the way the program's organised, but certainly in the way students are taught to learn, to be thinkers, to be independent, not to be passively sitting there waiting to be filled up with facts. You know we don't need facts anymore. Students can get that without teachers. For us to be relevant, we need to support them to become lifelong learners in the real sense. So it's a privilege to have the program. We're incredibly lucky that the trial program is here. And I'd like to introduce Russell Kerr to you. Russell's one of the founders of the Hands-On Learning organisation, which is the parent group that has developed this program.
I was teaching at Frankston High School, and I was really challenged with a lot of students in Year 10 that I was working with who weren't engaged or connected to school in a very real way. Took these students one day into the forest with an old friend of mine and made some stick furniture, and those kids said that's the best thing that we've ever done. And it began a real thought process for me that we needed to connect kids up to doing rather than learning things in a theoretical way. So I proposed to the principal then, who was Ken Rowe, who's a Mount Eliza man, and he said, Russell, if you can convince the rest of the staff, you can do this. And a few months later we began hands-on learning. It's been quite a journey, and over that time, in 2008, we became a not-for-profit, registered so that we could raise money to employ people to work in hands-on learning, and we're currently in 42 schools in Victoria. The government love what we do, but they never put any money into it, and it's interesting how they are very supportive philosophically, but always say there's no cash. To do anything different and to make change, we really need the philanthropic community who are tremendous supporters of hands-on learning. So that journey has brought us to a place where one day we were having a conversation with the government, with Martin Dixon and some of his people, and they said, look, we really love what you do, but you're just helping such a narrow, small group of people in these schools. We want you to do something for all students, because engagement is becoming a real issue for the education department and the way the world's changing and the way that education's changing. So we went away and thought about that, and we approached Angela a year ago with the idea of real-time learning at Mount Eliza as a pilot beginning of something new to couple up with hands-on learning, to be able to reach all of the students, to collapse the curriculum for a day. Real-time learning is simply what we've been doing in hands-on learning principles, but broadening that out to all students. And it's about doing things that are authentic, making learning an authentic process so that it's connected to the real world, to real tasks, to real issues. And it's got an immediacy. There's a now about learning, that it's not just something that you need this information or this knowledge in a theoretical way, but you actually need to know this to be able to do this now. And empowering the students to learn in this way, we think will make a major change in the way that they approach and take responsibility for their education. The proof will be in the pudding. I would like to get Terry to run a short video which unpacks that a little bit more in detail and helps you to understand what we're doing.
I'm going to ask Shelby to come up and just, Shelby, if you can come up here and just tell us a little bit about what you've done in real-time learning so far.
Hello. We started a new program at our school. It helps us engage with our learning to do things that students like to do and how they learn best. I think that's the reason I love real-time learning, because I get to learn a fun and different way. I've also got to make new friends. Some of them like the things I like. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks a lot, Shelby. And we're going to show another video which just shows a little bit more of what the students are doing before we get Amy to come up.
Remember the good things in life.
Hi, my name's Ollie, and for my topic I'm going to look at drugs in sport. The specific sports I'm going to focus on are AFL and rugby league.
Hi, I'm James and this is Elijah, and we're going to be working on drugs and sports effects.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Anderson, and I'm going to be talking about what real-time learning means to me. Real-time learning is about us doing activities with the community. For example, Stacey, Shelby, Ashka, Luke, and I got together to organise tonight for you guys. We worked out a plan of what we needed. Then we based everything on about 100 to 200 people. We went down to Brumby's, the butcher, and the fruit shop and met some terrific people and organised all the food for us tonight. We organised the drinks and where we got them from. We talked to the business manager for tonight and learnt a lot about budgeting and how to use spreadsheets, which assisted us with our planning for tonight. Then Luke brought those spreadsheets down on Tuesday. Then we collected all the food for tonight. We had such a great experience doing all this. And on the way, we had a couple of great laughs. That's why I really like real-time learning.
Hi, I'm Ed, and I'm here to talk to you about MESC, or Mount Sustainability Council. Everyone in this room needs to help me right here, right now. Right? This is our world. It gave life to us, it supports us. We live here. And how do we thank it? We're destroying it. Little by little, we are destroying this earth. Right? It's beautiful. And what do? We pollute it. Heaps of pollution. Right? But we can stop it for a green future. Will you join me? Thank you.
We were going to talk to you about real-time learning. I think the kids have done a great job on that. They've talked about what it is. It's about learning in real time. And as we pointed out, the kids were learning out, going down to the storeholders in Mount Eliza, working with their local community, then coming back and then working with our business manager to see how they might put a purchase order together and make this sort of thing happen. These three circles, connection, control and meaning, it's like an enabling space. When students are operating in all those three dimensions, we basically say that the student is enabled. But we all know that connection is a real problem in education these days. And so what real-time learning seeks to do is to develop a strong connection with the learning. And when that strong connection with the task is then understood, students then get a sense of control and having control over their learning. And once they have the control over their learning, they start to develop a meaning and an understanding of purposeful learning. And so we're looking for tasks that matter to kids to build that strong connection. Because when you do that, in the middle here, you can see in the middle there, that's when we say we've got student engagement, when all three things are happening. And then we've got all students in that enabling space. So we've seen Amy connecting down there, negotiating with Shane the baker. We saw Shelby down there working with Kevin and the butcher and establishing some good links between the schools, so school and community. And when we were down there with Joe, we said, look, we don't know how many to cater for. We think it might be somewhere between 100 and 200, and I think we're pretty accurate there tonight. Maybe we were actually a bit short on the numbers. But Joe gave some information on what sort of fruits that would work for that sort of number, and then sent some YouTube links so that students could work on how they might prepare for a night like tonight. And you saw that in the fruit that we consumed earlier. So this idea of connecting school to the community and to the world is what we're trying to establish here. At the same time as working on these tasks, we recognise that there are certain skills that the students will need. So all our students have been participating in a library session where they're getting a library orientation, and they're talking about things like accessing ClickView, which has over 4,500 videos. They're talking about accessing websites like the State Library. And so just having other avenues other than Google in terms of where they might go to search. So it's authenticity of the task that drives the student motivation. As you saw here, and you will have seen, we text this out, we emailed it out. What we were trying to do was get the students to use Google Docs, an online document, which then allows you guys to indicate how many are coming. It's a form of event management, but it's also using the tools that are there in the 21st century to be able to get a good sense of what these tools can do for us. Collaboration is another skill that we want to develop in students. And you may have heard that we put this out in a letter to you, that we were going to sign up all the students in 7 and 8 on Edmodo. Now, Edmodo is like Facebook, but it's built for education. It's safe. It's locked down. But the idea is to allow students to collaborate. You can see an example up here where Lulu was saying that she wanted to establish a veggie garden on the site, or re-establish it. Then Darcy said, I agree with that idea. Then it's facilitated by Despy O'Connor, who's one of our facilitators in the program, who then says, look, Alexa's interested in that idea too. These sorts of things are happening outside of the classroom, and that's what we're trying to develop, where students are using tools like this to collaborate. And so then, Darcy's inclusive of Alexa. Now, not only were the students collaborating, and there was this link with the community, because I've already been speaking with Jim Crashaw, one of our Rotarians in the local area, who only an hour after this was made light on, or the suggestion was made, he was interested in being able to say, is there a garden or something we could actually contribute to in terms of helping the students be involved in meaningful work around the college? So it was a real buzz for the students to be able to then hear that their ideas that they're coming up with can be backed and can be supported, and they can make a difference, just like Edward was saying with sustainability. Okay, we've talked a lot about communication. So we had a workshop just yesterday, and we'll run the other groups through a similar workshop where we invited Sue Wilkinson, and we just had the opportunity to have someone of that calibre come and speak to the students. She was actually head of UK cybercrime in 2007. She was head of the Olympics in terms of intelligence. She talked to the students, just gave them some war stories from what it's like out there, and what we have to be aware of, and how do we be safe online. So again, just that connection. Okay, I'm going to ask the team just to come up so that you can actually see who they are. And I feel very privileged to be leading a team of this calibre. They all have very diverse strengths. We've got Terry on the camera. You can see where his strengths lie. He also is, in his former role, he was an English teacher. Prior to that, he was in journalism for over 20 years. And so now he's also involved in, more recently, making documentaries also. We've got Despy, and Despy comes to us from the primary sector, so helping with transition, but working also, been working in this space where getting students to collaborate. And I mean, you're going to see some technology tonight that, really we owe to Despy in terms of her getting that up for tonight. She's also involved in many other things outside of education, like basketball associations, which she leads. She's been involved in life-saving and been a lead trainer in those areas. So a wealth of experience there. Kathy Norman, also a very strong educator who's been in schools, secondary schools for a number of years, both in the independent and also the government sector. So she's worked across sectors, and more recently been working in the TAFE system. So we have this really diverse team working with your students, and that's what makes it such a privilege to be involved working with these guys. I've been working on the peninsula for about 13 years. Very special to me, Mount Eliza, because I actually was asked by my grandfather at the age of 10 to come and help him relocate from Rosanna to Mount Eliza. It's a very special place, and he's not with us any longer, but I know he would have loved to see that we're working in this community. I've also worked over in the UK. But look, if you want to see a little bit more, you can go on the blog. Now this blog is just under construction, and we want the students' input in the blog. But you'll see things like the team, and you can go on and you can get a bit more about our bio, and you can see some of those sort of links. The hands-on learning team have just started this week, and already fitting in extremely well and connecting very well with our students. And as you can imagine, this is Graham. Now, Graham's going to be the team leader. Graham has over 20 years of experience in the plastering trade and run his own business. And more recently, he's been working in a hands-on learning program. Kylie has a background in film and television, and then been involved in other ways of educating and also been involved in hands-on learning too, more recently. And Lauren comes to us, she has a background, a 10-year background or over 10 years in electrical work. She's an electrician and has also worked for hands-on as well. So we're getting a very experienced team starting off from the ground here at Mount Eliza, which is fantastic. So you've met the team. Let's put our hands together for that team.